So, welcome to another episode of Island Buddha Podcast. Today we have the lovely Sydney with us. Sydney is the lead with a new AI dating app. How insanely awesome does that sound? And I was so intrigued when she told me about it, and I was just, I need to have you on my podcast, and you need to share this with the world. It's definitely something that people want to hear about, and especially in this tech era where AI is driving a lot of things. I think this is a really interesting way to match, romantic partnership and AI, and what does that look, and also making people more comfortable with that idea, like by just giving more knowledge. So super excited for you to tell us more about it.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for the kind words. And I was so excited to meet Amy at actually a Show Her the Money event, which was just an event during Tech Week to connect women in this male dominated space. So, what an appropriate way to meet you. But no, it's so exciting. I'm a quick intro. I'm Sidney Marsh. I'm the CEO of Distill Dating. I've been working on this for about a year and a half now, which is crazy to think about. I started this project when I was still a senior in college, and it's since evolved into this amazing program that I'm so excited about, and we're just launching beta now. So happy to get more into the details.
Yeah, definitely. Is there anything baseline that you want anyone to know before we get started with the questions, like just a little bit about the app itself?
Yeah, absolutely. So, a little bit like you mentioned, Distill is a next gen dating platform. What we want to do is use AI agents to learn your personality and preferences, then actually source and vet matches for you. And what's so important about this is the main reason people want to get on a dating app is because it increases the pool of people and the options at your
Right.
availability. But once you have all these options, it's paradox of choice. How do I pick who the right person is? How does the right person pick me? So
Mm-hmm.
that has just created so many negative psychological consequences on these apps, and there's so much
Yeah.
to say about it, but we're all about efficiency, transparency, and clarity. So we match you with just a few high quality people that we know way more about you and them than you would ever know on a dating app. We're asking you questions about, tell us in paragraph form what you want about your partner. Tell us how your college experience affected you, things like that. So that level of depth means that when you're getting a match suggestion, not only are you getting few of them or fewer of them and they're higher quality, but you actually know who they are as a person. It's not just, oh, here's 5 photos and then like a 5 word clip that my friends probably came up with
Prompt.
or
Yeah.
ChatGPT came up with. So you know who a person is when we're suggesting it to you. And the quality of people on the platform is people that want to date intentionally. So the likelihood that something converts to a date is much higher. So we're really thrilled with how the platform's going so far, but really excited to dive into it.
Super excited about it. And I think one of my favorite parts about the app is the AI agents, because
Yes.
it's like little men behind the scene just, doing the due diligence that, sometimes just our human nature blocks certain things, or like also just in dating itself, there's a lot of different emotions and factors involved, and the AI is unbiased. It's just, okay, this is what you said you want. I'm going to find people that are aligned with specifically that. So let's say, I don't know, you're a person who's sometimes gets carried away with like how somebody visually looks, and you're like, oh, okay, well, this person doesn't have what I want here and here and there, but okay, they're tall, they're this, they're that, they
Yeah,
live in this place, and they're not without foolishness. So it's still
absolutely.
interesting. But our first question is, we're in a generation that's overwhelmed with options, not necessarily aligned ones. What has AI taught you about clarity and not just compatibility in terms of how the app operates?
Absolutely. And I honestly think that the example you just brought up is such a good one. And there's an example of a beta user on Distill that had a very similar experience. So he was there was someone in his not good fit. So as a quick overview, you see a
Yeah.
handful of good fits, which are people your agent suggests, and a handful of not good fits, which pass
Mhm.
your high level filters, but for whatever reason are outside of your perceived preferences.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he goes into not good fits. He sees this girl, and of like looking over a platform for like 30 seconds, he's like, why is she not a good fit? She's beautiful, she's got a good career, she seems fun, she has friends. And then he read the agent to agent conversation. So that's a big thing for us, is you can see every single agent to agent conversation. And his agent basically uncovered that she's really a homebody, which is not a bad thing at all, but that's very different to his personality and preferences. He's like, I really want a girl that will go out with me. He's like, honestly, that's probably not something I would have figured out until date 2 or 3. So
Exactly.
that's, I mean, especially if the guy is paying, like that's like could be hundreds of dollars worth of like money, your time, effort. You don't want to lead someone on and then hurt them when you realize that it's not a good fit.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
just because two people could be attracted to one another does not necessarily mean deep level compatibility. And that's what your agent is amazing about sussing out. And that's one of the things that AI is incredible about, because you're not going to say on your Hinge profile, like, oh, by the way, like, I prefer to stay in on Friday and Saturday nights. I mean, I guess you could type that out, but most people don't. But that's the kind of thing that your AI agent is supposed to figure out for you. Like, do you have preferences for a partner that drinks once a week, 3 times a week, none a week? Like, things that you just don't know on these apps that, like, just we're unveiling the curtains and you can actually just see so much more into someone.
Yeah, exactly. And I think also, to just piggyback off of what you said, I think those are also sometimes red flags that people ignore, and like, they continue dating, and then it's only when it's unbearable or they can't take it anymore, then they're like, okay, maybe this doesn't work. Or sometimes even people get married and they ignore red flags,
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, this is definitely needed, and I'm so glad that you guys hopped on the wave. You basically introduced this. I've never heard of another app like this.
Mm-hmm. It's really different. I mean, you hear about matchmaking apps, you hear about startup dating apps, but I really do think that the way we're going about this with AI agents and just that 100% transparency with the A to A conversations it's really special, and I'm very excited about it.
Completely. My next question for you is, I know you've talked to hundreds of people about their love lives. What's a pattern you keep seeing that breaks your heart a little every time you hear about it? Whether it's like through the the beta stage, or just talking to friends about the apps, some info about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I really think that what breaks my heart about just dating culture in general and a lot of what dating apps have done to
Yeah.
dating culture is that people are afraid to lean in. People are afraid to put themselves out there, to approach. There's this one stat that just blows my mind. I can't remember where it's from, but it says 45% of men from the age of 18 to 25 have never approached a woman. It's part of that is just I know, like, wow, but or anyone in general, but it's
Yeah.
crazy that, like, because of the online culture, not even dating, just general online culture, people have just gotten so used to being intolerant to any form of rejection, because there are more subtle cues online, so you can tell someone's interested. Did they like your photo? Did they comment? All these other things. So people have gotten very intolerant to rejection in general. And then these dating apps don't help, because you're having people that are coming on that aren't actually looking for something serious. They kind of just want to be validated in the fact that they're attractive,
Right.
desirable, all the
Yeah.
things.
Mhm.
So it just makes people disheartened and gives them a bad taste in their mouth for dating. And I want people to realize that there are so many amazing people out there. Like, just
Yeah.
because there are one or two bad fits does not mean that there aren't 10 or 20 amazing fits down the line. And you're not going to find them sitting at home alone. I know that I've sometimes had the issue of be like, oh, it's just like so easy to just hang out and watch TV and chill. And there are definitely moments for that. But like, I think just being active in your dating life, like, don't wait for
Definitely.
things to passively come your way. Like, take
Mhm.
charge of your own life, whether it's download Distill, whether it's go talk to the guy at the bar, like, whatever it is, just take charge of your own life and don't wait for things to come to
Yeah.
you.
I completely agree. And there's that agency about like your own life. Oh, yes. Take an agency over one's life. So I think there's this approach of when you just wait for things to come to you, that's the only options you see. As opposed to if you're actually, taking it upon yourself to be, okay, I'm going to put myself in this environment because I want to be around this type of people or attract these type of guys, whatever it could be. If you're into like tennis, you get into tennis more and you start going to matches or whatever the case may be, instead of just like, I don't know, going to random events that people invite you to, and you're just like hoping that you kind of quote unquote meet somebody that's like into tennis or into these certain kind of things, but you're not proactively putting yourself in that environment to meet what you actually say you want. So I
Exactly.
hear what you're saying.
Yeah, that actually brings up a really fun, or not fun, just something that my parents always told me when I was younger. I remember there was this one moment where I had the option, the coach let me pick if I wanted to be on the
Yeah.
better basketball team, in which I would be the worst player, or the worst basketball team, in which I'd be the best player. And part of me was like, "Ugh, I kind of just want to be the best. I want to shine." And my parents were like, no, like, surround yourselves by the people you want to be with, the people you want to be like, and you will grow into that. And I think that also applies with dating. I mean, if you're going into dating apps just looking to get hits and likes and just going off of numbers, then, like, put yourself in positions where it's not actually the kind of people you want to attract, and you'll get a lot of inbound messages and requests. But is that
Exactly.
the kind of relationship you want to cultivate? I personally, I would rather have way less incoming messages, but from people that I want to aspire to be like, in terms of friendships and in relationships.
Precisely, precisely. And I think that's an amazing line that you just said, the last part, not just like somebody who you are attracted to romantically or enticed to romantically, but also on a friendship level. If that romance was removed, do you actually like who that person is as an individual? Do you like how they think? Do you like how they interact with other people? Do you like them as just a being existing in the world? So
Yes.
totally awesome approach. My next question is, what's a truth about love that you think the world forgets, especially in a digital age?
Absolutely. So it might sound counterintuitive that I'm saying this, but I think that people really underestimate how much value you get out of meeting someone in real life. And
Mm-hmm.
the reason I say that as someone that is a dating app is because
Yeah.
we want to create situations in which you can meet amazing people in real life. When
Mm-hmm.
you're set up on these dating apps that are really just set up for engagement, they want to keep you swiping for as long as possible. You're actually kind of incentivized to just stay on the platform, have these inbound messages, send these flirty texts, and like not really want to go to the next step of that date. But what we want to do is just cut through all the noise, give you someone that you're very likely to not only like, but go on a second date with. And then you can continue down that trend. So just making that more available to you. Because as amazing as AI is, and maybe one day, like, we'll be able to incorporate pheromones and all of these crazy
Yeah.
things into it. Who knows where life is going? But I do think it is so important to just create that clarity so that people can actually transition into an in real life scenario, because that's obviously the goal. Like, we're not trying to promote people like having these only online relationships. Like,
Yeah.
getting you in an amazing first date is our bread and butter, and I think it's not just about having all these options, it's about having a couple good ones.
Yeah, and I love that you said that. I actually think it's more power to the app and what you're doing that you put it into context like that, because sometimes I hear horror stories about these dating apps where it just kind of keeps you in this perpetual cycle of like staying on the app and nobody really wants to get off the app. So I think
Hmm.
it's such a healthy way that you're describing it, because if I was an app, that's definitely how I would go about it. I would want to meet intentional people with the goal or a mindset of like, okay, but we're getting off this app, meeting in your
Yes.
life. So it's so on brand, and it just speaks more to like what you guys are doing. And I think sharing more of that message and people hearing more about that backstory and just kind of how you think would make people more open to trying the app,
Hmm.
aside from it just being really cool and AI is involved. But
Yeah.
awesome.
So, one of the things I want to mention that I think maybe people can be confused about whenever you talk about matchmaking is like, oh, I have to know exactly what it is I want when I get on this app. And to
Yeah.
a certain extent, we want people to know that they want something meaningful and intentional. And that's very important to the brand. We're not trying to compete with Tinder. Tinder is great for what it is. Like,
Yeah,
that
for what,
should,
yeah, for,
yeah, if that's
yeah,
what you want, we're not trying to steal you as a client. But
exactly.
if you want something meaningful, intentional, we are the platform for you. But you don't necessarily have to know, like, I want a guy with this height, this background, this career, this personality profile. Because one of the things that's so common, especially with 20 to 30-year-olds, which is our main target
Yeah.
audience, is you're kind of figuring it out. Like, I like next year I could go get an MBA, or I could start a job, or I could become a baker. Like, it's just, you have no idea what life is going to throw your way. So you're kind of just trying to figure out who you are as a person and how you can fit well with someone else. So what's great about us is you can see these not good fits and actually see, got
Especially
it.
if you're looking for more intentional people, whereas like Tinder or Bumble or whatever the other apps are, it's kind of just for hookups or whatever the case may be. So the question is, what kind of person do you think thrives most on Distill or will thrive most on Distill, and who maybe isn't ready for this kind of dating just yet?
Got it. Okay. Thank you. That's super helpful. But yeah, so like I said, Distill isn't meant for everyone. Like, there are amazing platforms out there for certain types of relationships. Like, but
Exactly.
if you're looking to date intentionally and meaningfully and really connect with someone on a deeper level, I think that's what we're here for. And honestly, part of the onboarding process, the fact that we're asking you these deeper level questions that you wouldn't get on other dating apps, is kind of a weed out. If you're just looking to
Definitely.
have a hookup, like, you probably don't want to answer how did college affect your life and tell me
Yeah.
the deep things about a partner you really want. You're probably going to be like, that's a stupid question. Like, well,
Or
it
it
might
takes
be
too much
stupid for
work.
you because it's not what you're looking for. But for the people that actually want to get to know someone on a deeper level, like, they're going to be so excited to answer those questions and be like, I'm so glad you asked me. I have so many thoughts about it.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of a natural weed out system that we have. Of course, our beta is also exclusive. So reaching out to people that we know really embody the brand in terms of intentionality and clarity and just high quality in general. But yeah, I think that you don't have to be you don't have to know exactly what you want to get on the app. And that's something I want to reiterate. Like often with matchmaking services, it feels like, oh, I have to just like list this like checkbox list of things that I want
Yeah.
in a guy, and then that matchmaker will find it for me. But that's not really how life works. Like you might think that you know what you want, and then you run into someone, you're like, wow, I never would have said yes to you on a regular dating app, but you're a fantastic person and a good fit for me. So it's the app is meant for people that want to have those meaningful connections, and maybe you know exactly what you want, maybe you're figuring it out. That's great. We'll learn along with you.
Yeah, that's it's so incredible to hear you drop these little gems in between. For example, like you'll hear women and men saying sometimes often, my partner wasn't my exact type, but like something about that's who they ended up marrying, and it wasn't that, their partner wasn't beautiful or wasn't intelligent or whatever the case may be. It's just like sometimes as humans we just get in our own way. And it sounds like
Yes,
with Distill, the AI is helping you get out your own way. So I think that's
exactly. Yeah,
incredible.
one of the things I do want to call out really quickly about our profile, which is so different, is we do actually have a personality and value summary that it is generated by AI. You're able to edit it, but it's all based in reality. It's things that you've told us. We're not hallucinating all these crazy things about you. And what's amazing about that is all these other dating apps can just feel so stat focused, like I already said. So actually having someone else, a third party, write these lovely things about you in a similar way as if a friend was telling you like, wow,
Yeah.
Amy is so amazing. She's focused on intentionality. She has this podcast. She attends these events to support women. Like, that's not something you would ever see written on a normal dating app, but that's something that you see on our platform, which just
Right.
kind of helps expand your mind as to like the kind of person you're open to. Like,
Yeah.
maybe he's like slightly shorter than what you're used to, but oh my gosh, he's amazing as a person. Like, he has so many passions. Like, it
Yeah.
just expands your mind into what you're open to. It's honestly an unlock for us and for you.
Yeah. Absolutely incredible. I'm so excited for just people to listen to this podcast and just hear more because I mean, it's one thing to see it and kind of hear about it, but to hear more from the person leading everything and just how your mind works, it directly correlates to, I guess, the brand value and like intentionality behind it. And I
Hmm.
guess that's what also gravitated me towards having the conversation with you. So it's just, everything is just flowing.
Yeah, great.
But you're building a tool for love, but you're also
Yes.
building a company. What has surprised you most about stepping into the role of CEO, especially at such a young age, which is incredible. Like you just finished. This is, oh, you're incredible.
Oh, thank you. It is definitely has been challenging. I mean, of course, but you don't grow by just staying in your lane and doing what everyone else does. And I think that was a really big unlock for me. Like, I went to a school, I went to Dartmouth. Dartmouth has a very heavy finance and consulting culture. It's what everyone does. There is no entrepreneurship culture at Dartmouth. They're trying to work on it, they're not there yet. But going from this stable career into famously one of the most unstable careers, entrepreneurship, was definitely like an emotional process for me. Like just having to put myself out there, especially just being in such an emotionally charged space, dating. It is like you're so vulnerable. Like, this company is my baby. I believe in it. I think that it has the ability to impact all these people. I might be a younger vessel explaining this product than other CEOs out there, but it's because I understand the audience so well, which is, like I said, these 20 to
Right.
30-year old, like, I know what it's like. I've been single in New York City, which is famously one of the worst cities in the world to date, particularly for
Yeah.
women. So, like, I get what it's like. So, why would you want to have some 55-year-old guy making an app for 20-year-olds when you could have someone that's their entire peer base is the market? So, who knows better than them? So, yeah, it's definitely been an interesting process. I'll say the one thing I think that's really surprised me is how normal it is to not know exactly what you're doing and not know the right thing. And by that, I mean, if you're in entrepreneurship, by definition, you're doing something that hasn't been done before. So you're
Right.
not always going to do it perfectly the first time. And I feel like, especially growing up, you're trained to be like, make sure like you're like perfectionist, check your work, like get resources, get referrals. Like, that's not always possible. But knowing that I can do things that haven't been done before and getting up when I make a mistake just shows me how resilient I can be. So it's
Yeah.
been a really, really cool process.
Yeah. So powerful that you say that. And I'm sure many other people can relate to that. People who aren't just entrepreneurs, because I was also on the phone earlier today when I was leaving the gym with one of my close friends, and we were just speaking about there's a certain level of peace and also I feel upward trend that your life takes when you also realize that nobody really has it all figured out. It's just an illusion. So
Yep.
if you're comparing yourself or second guessing yourself, taking this job, trying this new company, dating outside of your culture, whatever it may be. It's okay. Do what feels right for you, like within like a sane mind, because nobody really has it figured out. So it's not the best thing to like just copy and paste what you see somebody else doing who you might think is successful just because of how it looks, because you're afraid of like trying something that you feel is true to you just because it hasn't been done before. So absolutely amazing that like you shared that, because it's so true amongst like so many different parts of life.
Absolutely. It's definitely not just entrepreneurs. It's everyone out there. We're all just figuring it out. And you could be 80 years old and still figuring it out.
Listen, then it wouldn't be life. I mean, sometimes I think about that, and I'm okay. If I didn't handle a situation right, or there was a setback in some kind of way, I'm like, okay, but Amy, if you did everything perfectly, right, and you know everything, and you do everything right all the time, why would you still need to be here? You
Yeah.
passed life, like check. Go ahead and be an angel in the sky somewhere. Like you don't need to be here and learn anything anymore. So
Hmm.
just that little gem helps too. So I hope it helps somebody else like listening as
I hope
well.
so too.
Another question I have for you is, what's your hope of where intentional dating could go in the next 5 to 10 years, and how do you see Distill leading that shift?
Absolutely. So, one of the things that's so cool about this time and age, like, I feel like I hear everyone analogize like 2025 to basically like
Hmm.
2000, like the internet is becoming a thing. Like, we're at such a pivotal moment in how society is deciding how to use these new technologies.
Yeah.
Like one thing that I've been thinking about, people ask me is like, I've heard that AI is maybe hurting meaningful relationships and making and replacing humans. And like, it's possible. That is a risk of using this new technology and not having guardrails in place. But and while it's important to be wary of that and be conscious of it, you should also be incredibly excited for the future, especially
Yeah.
if it's used well. And that's why exactly what we're doing. We're taking out all of the work, the time, the energy, the mental effort, the money in order to help you find this person. Just imagine, I was doing a brainstorming session with my co-founders, and they were like, what would you want a dating app to be? And I was honestly, I open my phone, I open the dating app, and that's my person. That's all I have to do. And that's what we're building towards. So if you can really build a process that's that easy, that simple, and that
Yeah.
good, there's such a ripple effect in society when people have meaningful relationships in their lives that fill their cup instead of drain it. So it doesn't just change your life, it doesn't change that person's life, it changes everyone in your network and your network's network. Mhm.
Exactly. And that's so incredible that you say that as well too, because nobody wants something that's supposed to bring them joy to be draining. And I feel like
Yeah.
that's what a lot of other dating apps are. But again, it's not doing the filtering that you're doing. But also, I think I would have mentioned it earlier that maybe that's not their intention. Maybe their intention is just to keep you on the app, you know?
Yeah.
So just,
Very perverse incentive with dating apps in terms of monetization, because when you're subscription based, like your goal is to keep people on for as long as possible because that's how you're getting your user base. So we definitely need to innovate in how we monetize in dating app culture, and it could be via getting kickbacks from restaurants in a similar fashion to Resi or Open Table. It could be in a one-time fee up front. Like there's so much to explore and how to do that and to do it better. And I think that's going to be a really big unlock in the dating industry.
I definitely agree. I definitely agree. Are there any like, let's say maybe like 3 key tips you would share to somebody like dating right now?
What an interesting question. I think first, it's being really honest with yourself about if this is someone you want to be with, especially if it's someone you don't. I think I've, in my personal life, have maybe stayed in a relationship or situationship longer than I should have when part of me was like, I feel like this isn't the right fit,
Yeah.
but it's good enough and you can just keep going. So being honest with yourself when something isn't a good fit is important. Two, communicating that in a respectful
Yeah.
and effective way. The longer you have this feeling that it's something isn't right, and the longer you don't tell that person, like you're doing them a disservice. So
I
just
agree.
being honest with yourself, communicating, and then just like I said before, like being willing to put yourself out there. Yes, it sucks being on the other end of that or just feeling rejected for whatever reason, but it's just so worth it putting yourself out there. It's almost the number of people that analogize raising money for VCs to dating is so funny, but it doesn't matter if you get told no 80 times. All you need
Yeah.
is one yes.
That's so true. You're not looking for all these men or women to be their husband and wives. You just want one husband and one wife. So as you said, you just need one.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly.
Those are such great tips. And I love the part about like just being honest too and open about what you want. I think sometimes I hear these negative, for lack of a better word, dating tips online, and they'll tell women or men to settle and don't be too picky about this, and in this economy you just have to settle for this and that. And it's like, I truly believe, not just with dating, because as you realize I speak in terms of just holistic view, because I apply things across the board, that you get in life what you think you deserve. So if you think you deserve, I don't know, just a partner who can just provide for you and whatever providing means for you, but they're not invested in other parts of your life, or they probably don't want children, or they don't want to move here. But again, the internet people are telling you this is the best, like you should be okay with this. Like, don't listen to that. Like, absolutely.
Yeah.
I know it's scary, especially like if everybody else is doing that, but the people that are actually happy in life, they're going for what they want, and they don't settle. They just don't settle. And that's what makes them really happy, when they're behind closed doors and they go home.
Exactly. No, know what you want and know what your priorities are. Like, that's being honest with yourself and then with other people is such a key part in life. And that's why I love that people are going to therapy more. People are being more self-reflective. And I've really seen this trend with people our age. And
Yes.
I think that's going to be so beneficial for society, generations to come.
Yeah, definitely. And also just, I think there's, as you said, there's a lot more of us doing that. So I feel like it's okay to, like, what's the word I'm looking for? I try to be so careful with how I say things sometimes, but there's also a part of this generation now, because we're doing all this work, there also is another part that isn't. And it's okay to kind of separate yourself from that. I feel like sometimes we have this culture of, okay, yeah, but we have to bring everyone with us, or we have to help drag people, want better for themselves, or, prove why therapy works, or like, being on a more serious dating app will be more beneficial for you. No, you're doing the work, and it's okay if like others aren't, and you also don't have to condone yourself with that space. It's okay to find a new tribe, or branch out, or just want to align yourself with, people who are on your wave.
Yeah. One thing that might be a hot take about dating is I think it's okay to be a little selfish. And
Yeah.
I don't mean that in terms of putting yourself first in a relationship. I mean in terms of deciding who you're going to spend your time with and who you're going to be
Yeah.
with. Like,
Yeah.
you could be dating a guy that is, or a girl, whatever, that is amazing and treats you so well. And part of you could feel like, I don't feel like I can end it with this person because they've done nothing wrong. But if
Right.
you just aren't feeling that spark, and you could not even know why you're not feeling that, like, you're doing a disservice to that person. Like, would you want to be in a relationship with someone that doesn't feel that spark to you? Like, my guess is probably no. So
Yeah.
you do have to a certain extent, like, put yourself first when it comes to deciding the person you're going to be with. And then once you find that person and are committed to them, like, just be living a generous, accepting, happy life together is like obviously the goal. But yeah, I think you, to a certain extent, have to put yourself first when making those decisions.
Completely agree. I would say one thing about that spark though, which I've realized, like just by going through life more and hearing other people talk and therapy and books and all these things, is that I think what we think is the spark at a certain point in our lives might not be what the spark is like at another point. So like
Mm-hmm.
for example, I think like when we were young girls and like watching Disney movies and watching all the fairy tales, we think the sparks is like, oh my gosh, all these butterflies and fireworks, and oh my
Yeah.
gosh, my Prince Charming. Like you're just like seeing like shining
Mm-hmm.
stars around the dude, and like that's your Prince Charming, that's your husband. And what I've learned through like research and just like talking to like different people is that sometimes that spark, unless you've done the work, is attachment to not dysfunction, but that kind of adrenaline of like up and downs. So I guess
Yes.
for lack of a better phrase, is that bad boy kind of type, where it might not
Yeah.
even be that the guy is a bad boy kind of type. Maybe he's like really stable in his career, he has a good family, whatever, but something about him just isn't aligned with you, and that kind of like makes you feel like there's a spark, because there's that like little bit of like friction of like, okay, he kind of looks like what I want, but I don't really feel like he's like what I want. But okay, and then create that friction creates a
Yeah.
spark, you know what I mean? But as I said, like, if you've done the work, like you would realize that, and not if you've done the work you'd realize that if you've done the work, your spark changes from that, which I feel like is like okay, everyone goes through that phase, to somebody that feels like a fireplace. And I remember when my really close friend saying that about like her soon-to-be husband. She was
Oh,
like, when you do the work, the spark translate into somebody that feels like a fireplace. And it's not to say that you're just choosing like somebody that feels like safe and makes you feel comfortable. It's a more wholesome, homey kind of spark for
yeah.
love.
No, I know exactly what you're saying. I really like the way
Spark
that you put
equals
that.
safety.
Yes. Yeah. And like that gets into, not to go too far into psychology, but like
Uh-huh.
attachment theory and just how it
Yeah.
is you know to relate to people. And that's such a good point. I
Mhm.
think I'm coming at it from a point of like, I feel like I have a general sense of what I want, what my values are in life,
Yeah.
and made that effort to think
Mhm.
about it. But that's such a good point and something that we need to be
Yeah.
really mindful of. And one of the reasons I'm so grateful that one of my co-founders in Distill is actually a PhD in psychology, so we can incorporate those actual research principles into our app. So
Mhm.
everything that we do is based in research and practice, and
Yeah.
like the app is made with intention, so it really comes at all stages.
Yeah, definitely. I want to like explain that for like other people listening, because especially in the dating world where it's so confusing and not everybody is interested in researching this and researching that. Like that's something that I just do out of fun, and it sounds kind of
Yeah.
icky to people, but like I research parenting, all these other things, and they're like, "Are you a mom yet?" No, not yet. I'm so interested in this. So I feel
Yeah.
like when you share information with other people that you're interested in, it kind of like just like helps like I don't know, the collective kind of grow if they're
Yeah,
open.
absolutely. I think one of the best things you can be in life is just interested in other people and what they have to say, because
Yeah.
if you're open to learning new things, like you'll never know what you're find. I'm going to use that fireplace thing. I like that.
It was the sweetest thing, like
uh, good. Happy wedding. Good luck.
right? But yeah, I mean, is there anything else that you want us to know or to
Yeah.
share?
Yeah. So, well, I wanted to first thank you so much for giving me a platform to talk about it. I mean, I could just talk about the stuff all day, but no,
Good.
we're really excited to be getting the product out there. We just launched the beta. So I would love to include, like, welcome everyone in this podcast to join our beta. It is exclusive and
Mhm.
invite only, but I think if you're spending the time to listen to this, you're the right kind of person for our app.
You're very smart. Yep. Yep.
Yes.
So
So
you just
yeah, no, I would love to have you guys
add the
all
link to
on
you
and
guys.
so excited.
So you have the link, Sydney, and I'll just like provide it here for them. And
Yes.
yeah, you guys have a
Yeah.
special invite. How cool. Thank you for that.
Of course, yeah. I love the community you're building, and anything I can do in the future, please let me know. I think it's so important the work you're doing.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sydney.
Yes,
But
of
yeah, we'll talk
course.
again soon. And thank you guys for watching.
Yes. So great to meet everyone.